It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Man, the 11-game win streak ended for the Denver Broncos. And we had some good moments, but the Denver Broncos lost. I'm looking at Instagram, going to the Bronco fan pages, and all you could see is everything the Broncos did wrong. And mind you, the Broncos did do a lot of things wrong. Every game, the defensive backs are holding and getting penalties. And I defend Riley Moss a lot, but some of those plays do be pass interference. Like the Burrow play in this game on the end zone, you obviously holding the dude. And the Denver Broncos team, we have a lot of sacks, but we don't have a lot of turnovers because I think Vance Joseph is teaching his defensive backs, or a defensive back coach is teaching them to break the pass up instead of being ball hawks and going for interceptions. Because our team does not have a lot of interceptions or turnovers. They got a lot of sacks. Now, with that being said, William Cohen, the ex-offensive coordinator of the Bucks, who was working with Baker Mayfield, turned him to a star, called a hell of a game against the Denver Broncos, on top of Washington in a slot having a career game. We all know about Brian Robinson Jr., Travis Etienne, and the newly acquired Jacoby Myers, who used to give us the business all the time when he played for the Raiders. They were minute this game. It was the play calling of Leo Cohen, the escapability of Trevor Lawrence, and Washington out of the slot having a career game. And Cohen took advantage of our linebackers in coverage and PJ Locke in coverage. He had PJ Locke, who was probably like 5'11, 5'9, matched up on a tight end that almost weighs over 100 more pounds than him, and it was at 6'5". I don't know the tight end's name. Sorry for that. But he had a mismatch where the dude just, it looked like he pushed him off, but he didn't. He just kind of moved his arm, and PJ Locke went back 2 yards, and he caught the touchdown pass. Now let's talk about the mistakes Denver made. Bo Nix is throwing ER balls to his receivers, man. He's throwing balls that's going to get his receivers killed. Like the one for Jordan Humphrey, he made a good play out of the pocket, but he got to protect his receivers more. And then Pat Bryant, who was already coming off an injury, he throw him an ER ball going across the middle, and he gets demolished. And on top of that, we had chances to come back. Like once we got our sacks in the second half, they kicked the ball to us. RJ Harvey had a 38-yard touchdown run. Jacksonville goes right back down after that and answers it with a touchdown. Now we're down by 14 later on in the fourth quarter. The defense gives us a ball back. And on 4th and 2, uh, Bo Nix has the check down Beatty wide open. But Bo Nix, instead of taking the guaranteed 5 to 7 yards on the check down to Beatty, he goes 12 yards down the field trying to hit Pat Bryant, and it gets intercepted. And the commentator was like, I don't know what Bo Nix was looking at. And then on top of that, you had a fumbled exchange between Bo Nix and Harvey, I think. And that never happened. So we had the turnovers. Cohen exposed our linebackers in coverage. We like to play linebackers. Drake Greenlaw, he's been getting exposed in coverage since he came back. And it seems like our defense got worse since Drake Greenlaw came back. But one thing for certain, we may as well forget about resting our starters the last week against the Chargers, because the Chargers have won and capped Dallas. They're 12 and no, they're 11-4. We're 12-3, I think. Yeah, we're 12-3. So we have to beat Kansas City without Mahomes on Thursday, which we should. But like I said, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. Then we gotta, play our last game against, you know, the LA Chargers. Even if the Chargers lose to the Texans, we'll clinch the division, but I don't think we can lose that game and still have home field advantage. But Leo Cohen is a great example of how a new coach can change your franchise around in like a year. And the thing is, he called the game that he can go anywhere with that game plan and win the game on the road. That's how. And Vance Joseph didn't make the adjustments. He was so upset. I don't know if he tried to make the adjustments and Leo Cole and cohorted, co-reacted to it. But Vance Joseph was visually disappointed in his defense. But the defense did get the stops at the end of the game and give Bo Nix time to actually make the comeback. But the fumbles and the interceptions, like you got to play 60 minutes of football, 60 minutes of clean football, and that's what Jacksonville did. Washington had a career game, I'm telling you. Just like, you know what I mean? And for the third week in a row against the Commanders, against the Packers, now the Jaguars, a receiver has posterized us with one of the best catches of the year. It was it first happened in Washington on Sunday Night Football. Then it happened with Josh Jacobs against Green Bay, and then yesterday on Sunday it happened with you know Parker Washington. So I mean, Jacksonville has always been a pain in our side. You go back to when before Elway won his first Super Bowl, the Jaguars came in Denver and won a close game, and we got eliminated from the playoffs. And we were Super Bowl contenders then. That was when Green Bay and Brett Favre won his first Super Bowl. The next year, we beat Jacksonville in the playoffs, and we win. No, we didn't beat Jacksonville in the playoffs, but we won back-to-back Super Bowls, and we was a wild card. Next year, we beat Jacksonville in the playoffs, went to the AFC Championship, won that, repeated Elway. Now, the game in San Diego is important because the last time the Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl was a funny situation. We were going to either win the division and get home for advantage or lose and go to the wild card because everybody had a good record in the AFC that year. Pittsburgh, New England. So that game against the Chargers, they were San Diego back then, really meant a lot. And that's when Osweiler was starting, but they pulled them and, they put Peyton Manning in. And it was all close games from there. So, I mean, like last time we won the Super Bowl, we lost a game in December. So we on that same trajectory. And some people are saying we needed a humble loss because it would have been crazy if we would have won out and then lost in the first round of the playoffs. So this will humble the Denver Broncos. And man, so I'm already upset my Broncos lost. So I work in sales. And us as football fans, we do like to wear our team jerseys when we come into work the next day. And it's been 90 days since I haven't wore Broncos or Oregon apparel. Like I wore my Oregon apparel because I have a Bo Nix jersey. Or you could say it's a Justin Herbert jersey because he wore 10. But I'm a Broncos fan because it's a Bo Nix jersey number 10 to me. Because some Oregon jerseys you buy with the Nike don't have the name on the back because NIL wasn't like popping like that no more. But so I was like, okay, let the Ravens, they go on for their playoff hopes. They do well against New England. They beat them in AFC championships. They beat them in playoff games. So let's see if the Ravens can survive, and I can go to work with my rhinestone Edward Reed jersey, blinging with the black with the rhinestone all over, to help get sales. So if I can't celebrate my team winning, I can celebrate Baltimore City, the hometown team winning, and get sales. You know what I mean? That's how you play it. When the Ravens win, you come to work what Ravens gear on Monday trying to bag the sales. It's psychology. Sales is all about psychology. But the Ravens blew it. And I was at work saying, I believe in Baltimore. I believe in both Lamar Jackson. And if it's any teams that I'm scared of that would knock Denver out, it's Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen is what they can do with their feet. They can carry a team when they back by themselves. But OG was like, I'm counting them out. I'm counting them out. I'm counting the Ravens out. Why? I was like, why? He's like, because Lamar can't play the cold. I was like, well, Lamar is from South Florida, Miami area. He's like, yeah, I know, and he can't play in the cold. And that's why they got Derrick Henry. But the thing is, the Ravens' problem is when they go up by 7 and the team scores against 7, they seem to try to get in the shootout and instead of running the ball, or if they down by 7, they'll quit running the ball and they'll try to get in shootouts. And you can't really blame them because the Ravens defense is terrible. They have no pass rush at all. Who before you get an offensive lineman, before you get a receiver or a running back, the first round pick has to be the best available edge rusher possible. And I don't know why they didn't do it this year in the draft. They got you know, a pass rusher in the second or third round, hoping that he was going to do something, but he didn't, and they lost on that gamble. But they need a pass rusher, even if you got to bring in a veteran like Von Miller. You know what I'm saying? Someone that can teach them how to pass rush. You got to make it look like you're trying to do something next year. I don't know why they didn't go after Michael Parsons, knowing that their defense was not like that. I guess they thought they was going to come around. But as you've seen in the Jacksonville game, if you don't got no pass rush and you don't got no outside edges coming in, the quarterback is going to have a field day. And they took the lead against the Patriots, but like I said again, the defense has no pass rush and no quarterback fears the Baltimore Ravens no more. They're not even hitting people hard no more. So we must kill this nonsense that we talk about every year of Mike Tomlin, getting fired. Now, if Mike Tomlin loses to the Browns and loses to the Ravens and let the Ravens get in, even though they probably won't get in, because I don't know if you can trust Huntley and if Lamar's coming back against Green Bay, who's fighting for their playoff hopes. But the only way I can see Tomlin getting fired is if, you know what I mean, they don't make their playoffs. But Tomlin has been doing more with Wayne less than Baltimore. Baltimore Ravens had a 5-year window to win the Super Bowl. Couldn't get past Patrick Mahomes at first. Then they couldn't get past Josh Allen. Now it's like the hell of it. These guys just stink. So I think it's Harbaugh's turn to get fired. We always talk about Tomlin getting fired. No, it's Harbaugh's time to get fired. The Ravens stink. They're no longer a Super Bowl contender. You're wasting Lamar's career years. But does he have a cheat code? Because can you blame Tom Monken, the offensive coordinator, and can you blame Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator? John Harbaugh came in as a special team coach, which is really a odd situation because he can say, "Well, my offensive coordinators is bad. Let's get rid of Todd Monken. Okay, my defensive coordinator is bad. Let's get rid of Zach Orr." So does John Harbaugh have a cheat code to stay as long as he wants to, as long as he has Lamar and his expertise is as a special team coach, and he can put that on the front office by saying, "Okay, you the guys that hired the coordinator, or you the guys that hired Zach Orr." But I'm pretty sure I think Harbaugh had a say so in getting Todd Monken in there. But yeah, this Ravens thing is just not going to work out with John Harbaugh. But shout out to Tomlin because he's doing far more with way less. He has an aging Aaron Rodgers who did terrible with the Jets. So you give, Tomlin a decent sized quarterback or a decent quarterback, even with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, he was getting that last wild card spot. You know what I mean? So shout out to Mike Tomlin, and I think John Harbaugh needs.
Man, Aaron called a play and he was told me just go out and run a go ball. Man, it take unbelievable concentration to catch a ball like that. I kind of lost it for a minute in the light, and then last second it came to me. I just put my hand on the ground and I don't know how I caught that, but caught it. Never give up on the play. Just go score.
Once again, the mid majors burn us. The Cinderella story in college football burns us when we get in to the playoffs or the national championship. I remember we begged and cried like a whore for TCU to get in, and they got blew out in the championship game. I remember when Boise State was in the BCS playoffs and they did that Statue of Liberty and they won that game against the Oklahoma. That's the last time a mid major ever did something. And the media loves this college football BS where they say, "Oh, they didn't get it right. Oh, Notre Dame should not have been left out of the college playoff. Miami shouldn't have, or Alabama." But they changed the rules and said we're gonna get 2 conference champions in no matter what. And boy, did them guys get smackarooty. They got blew out. James Madison got throttled by Oregon. Didn't look like they should have been on the same field. And Ole Miss already beat Tulane. They beat the brakes out of Tulane in the regular season. And that was the 2 matchups in the bye week. So now they said if Notre Dame is ranked number 12, no matter what, they'll get in. But now the good thing about Notre Dame losing is the regular season does matter. Now, would people stop scheduling good games? Because you never leave an Alabama out. You don't leave Alabama, you don't leave Notre Dame out before Alabama because their third loss was against Georgia in the championship game. And Notre Dame, they don't have a conference, but now they're saying we might have to go to a conference because I feel like they could have won the ACC despite losing a 3-point game to Miami. And boy, was that Miami and Texas A&M game terrible. So Notre Dame, I wouldn't play in the bowl game. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't. You know what I mean? If you want to see Notre Dame and you want to get money from Notre Dame's fan base, put them in the playoff. I mean, forget going to a bowl game. Now, I wouldn't mind them doing like the NFL, having 7 teams. You see what I'm saying? 14 teams, adding 2 more teams, because then you would have probably got a BYU or Notre Dame in, but then you would have had somebody else crying on the outside looking in. Or you could have if they would have had a 14-game playoff, you could have justified them putting Texas in, the 3-win Texas team instead of BYU, because Texas had some great wins. You know what I mean? They beat Texas A&M despite having bad losses. They beat Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Who else did they beat? They went to Ohio State and lost. They challenged Ohio State. So college football and the media loves this chaos. And they would rather have a good team like Notre Dame, Alabama, or Miami get screwed than, you know what I mean? Just not guarantee a conference winner. And you know what I'm saying? And just have large bids. You see what I'm saying? Because Miami ain't win their conference, they still got in. Uh, Mississippi ain't win their conference, they still got in. Alabama didn't win their conference and they still got in. So the conference championships, I guess they're not going to mean anything. You know what I mean? They're not going to mean anything because Indiana beat Ohio State and Ohio State still got to buy. Indiana still got to buy. But it was for bragging rights. Now, Ohio State can come back and win a national championship, get their revenge against Indiana, just like they did against Oregon. And when they beat Oregon last year in the playoffs, they blew Oregon out. And the only reason they lost to Oregon the first time in the regular season because time ran out. They just didn't have enough time. So it wasn't like Oregon blew them out. Whereas you've seen Alabama had a strong win going into Georgia and beating them, but they get smacked in the SEC championship. So I just believe college football loves this chaos. But once again, these mid majors burn us. You know what I mean? Burn us.
51 yards on the reception from Dante.